What's up, hard chargers, and welcome back to another episode of Hodgepodgepreneur with me, Kyle Miller. And today we are actually doing an impromptu video, so forgive me for all the ums and ahs you may hear along the way, and I will be reading a little bit off of a piece of paper just because this is about the Paycheck Protection Program, which is rapidly evolving, very volatile situation, and all the knowledge I have on it is up here, which comes out in conversation and not whenever I am talking to a camera in my basement. I have helped people apply for this. I've had people that I've helped get approved for this. I'm not giving you tax advice or legal advice, obviously. I'm not a CPA, but I have had some experience in this, which is why I wanted to post this video on it. So today is April 24th, and yesterday on April 23rd, the House passed what the Senate had approved for a replenishment of the Paycheck Protection Program. Now, in this, I'm going to talk about a couple of tips that maybe you didn't know about, and we'll talk about differentiator in this program compared to the first one, or for this round compared to the first round, and we'll talk about some places you can go to that are not federal government and that are not government at all. So stick around for that. But let's give some background on it. First of all, the Paycheck Protection Program is passed due to the CARES Act and due to the coronavirus, and it is money that is given in the form of a low-interest loan, 1% or less than 1% loan to businesses who might need it or who might need it in the future to get through the COVID-19 crisis that we're currently undergoing. And this loan is forgivable. There are some certain bars that you have to clear in order to make it forgivable, but it is a forgivable loan, and it sounds like the bar of clearance is pretty low. Now, the first round of funding was $349 billion, and that got ate up in about 3 weeks. So the second round of funding is $320 billion from what I'm understanding. Now, the differentiator between this round of funding and last round of funding is that $60 billion of the $320 billion is going to be given to smaller banks. Now, the reason that's important is because obviously if you go into a larger bank and there are larger clients at that bank than you, needing a larger loan than what you're needing, the bank is going to help service them. I mean, it's not only a business standpoint that they would help service that person first, it's also the fact of if there's $2 million needed, maybe there's 20 jobs to save. So there's these difficult triage decisions that banks were having to make. Now they're making sure that some of the local banks get it. Also, the big problem with the first round was that a lot of publicly traded companies who had a lot of reserves were going and applying for this. So it ate up over $200 or $300 million in funding of the $349 billion that was out there. I know that seems like a spit in the ocean, but the amount of corporations that applied for that were between 70 and 94. Now, I know that there was a lot of jobs there, so there's a lot of hindsight and debate on that. I don't want to get into that, but there was a lot of money that was not able to be had by the mom and pop shops. And for those of you who don't know who qualifies, basically any independent contractor or any employer with under 500 employees would qualify for this. So if you filed taxes last year, even if you're not set up as an LLC, if you're a 1099 miss, or that includes Uber drivers, contractors, real estate agents, real estate brokers, then you qualify for this, amongst other things. So if you're not sure whether you qualify or not, get with your CPA and find out. We'll put some helpful links down below for the SBA. And so you can go on there and see that. A little bit of a tip here that I found from the first round of funding. Not only are the small banks quicker at getting it, I had somebody that I knew that applied on a Friday, got the money on a Monday. It was the high 5 figures. But also in the first round, the unsung heroes that you won't hear about in the news, because you hear about the small banks, which is fine, but the ones that you won't hear about in the news are fintechs. Fintechs include places like Square, PayPal, Cabbage, and I'll put a link down below so that you can find those and who all offers that. But those folks were able, they're normally processing stuff without seeing people. So they already have processing centers set up. They already have their procedures set up for that. So it's no big deal for them to do something like this. So they're kind of more flexible than your average bank. So fintechs is one place that you can go to maybe push this along. And this time, small banks will be able to help push this along better than what they were in the first round. So that's the positive things about this. Now, if you don't think you need it because you have everything coming in right now, I would urge you to think about the unknowns of the future. Just because you don't have a need or a loss right now doesn't mean you have to sit back and wait for that need or loss to smack you in the face. Because here's the thing, after this funding goes away, there's no talks right now of a third round of funding for the PPP. There's talks of more funding coming down the road for other government entities or for hospitals and stuff like that, but there isn't any more talk about more paycheck protection from what I've heard. So make sure that you go ahead and take this before you actually need it. You don't want to sit back and wait for bad things to happen to you, because we don't know right now what ripple effects this is going to have on the economy. And so just because you're not impacted right now doesn't mean that other people who pay you aren't going to get paid by other people who aren't going to get paid by other people who eventually trickle down to you. So make sure that you go out there and get that money. Second thing is, don't let your pride get in the way. This is not a handout. You didn't make a bad business decision. You didn't mismanage your business. This is simply a black swan event that came in, and so everybody's pulling together to help with this. This is not a handout. This is CPR until you can get back to breathing on your own. So don't let pride stand in the way of that. So funding outside of the feds, the local governments are going to be getting money from the feds, and they can reallocate that to helping out small businesses. But then also, if your government and local municipalities have ran at a surplus and there is excess money there that was there before, they can use those funds for this, and they are. There's a link down below of different states that are offering different relief programs or packages for small businesses and independent contractors. So make sure you check that out. The other thing is that industry-specific help is also available. So, for example, in the restaurant and bar industry, there are certain liquor brands that are actually offering up relief packages. And I know that in the insurance industry, there are some carriers that are offering up relief packages. In the real estate industry, I know that there are different groups and organizations that are offering up relief packages. And so make sure you check that out. I do have a couple links down below to toast.com and fortune.com that lists out some of those industry-specific relief packages that are available out there. And so don't forget to check within your industry. I couldn't have all the industries on there, but I'm willing to bet that some of these tool manufacturers are probably doing something for contractors. So there are other things out there outside of the local governments and outside of the federal governments that you could look into. That is my spiel there on the second round of funding, what's going on with that, the status of it, and what you should do, and whether you should go out there and get it or not, and some tips on how to get it. So don't forget about the fintech. Don't forget about the difference in this second round where the small business banks are going to be having excess money on this. And make sure that you go out there and take care of yourself, take care of your business, take care of your employees during these times until we can get back up and going the way that we should. Until next time, my name's Kyle Miller. This is Hodgepodgepreneur, and I hope to see you on the next episode. Keep charging hard, hard chargers.